Hello everybody and welcome. Thank you for joining me for today's video where we'll be doing a rundown on the Vital Bracelet series brought to you by Bandai Namco. Now, this particular device series was originally released with Digimon in mind, but actually has since expanded to other franchises such as Kamen Rider, Ultraman, My Hero Academia, and I believe Tokyo Revengers. Now, this is the original look for the Vital Bracelets, but the ones that I will be showing to you are all in different forms of modded shells, and these modded shells were actually courtesy of an amazing content creator known as vpet Designs. You can find him on Twitch, on YouTube, as well as on Twitter and many other sites and platforms, and he also does have his own website where he sells these mods, and I will be linking those sites down below. And now let's get on into it, shall we? I do apologize for having to do this on my phone, and my hands are a little bit shaky, but this was the best way to get a close-up of this particular device. Now, the first device that we're going to be talking about is the Vital Bracelet, which is the first generation of the Vital Bracelet series. Now, this particular device is modded and is upgraded, but its internals are essentially the original Vital Bracelet, the first edition, or the first generation. Now, this is currently in what is known as a Vital Pet shell. The Vital Pet shell is actually a mod that is available for purchase through vpet Designs, which I will place their link in the description. And it also comes with what's known as an upgrade memory. Now, the upgrade memory does essentially change the functionality and update it to something that is more akin to the next generation of Vital Bracelet, which is known as the Digivice V. Now, the original Vital Bracelet did not have a sleep function, but it worked essentially the same as what the Digivice V works like, just with less quality of life changes, because it was the first edition, the first generation of the Vital Bracelet series. For a Vital Bracelet, the basic functions do require you to have what's called a DIM card. These are usually included with the purchase of a Vital Bracelet or a Digivice V, which is the next generation, but may not be included with the Vital Bracelet BE, which is the newest edition of this particular series. Now, DIM cards are essentially modified micro SD cards that house the Digimon, their Digivolutionary lines, a essentially unique based adventure mode or adventure line for each DIM card, and unique wallpaper, which you can put onto the background of your device. And the wallpaper here is currently a wallpaper that is unique to the upgrade memory and the modded Vital Pet. Now, the original Vital Bracelet did not have what was known as a sleep function. And if you were to turn it off, it would essentially reset the device, making you have to reset the time, reset the date, but still keep the Digimon and potentially the progress that you have had with that particular Digimon. Now, it is always in military standard, and the functions of a Vital Bracelet essentially are based around a rudimentary pedometer as well as a very rudimentary heartbeat sensor. Now, in the Vital Pet shell, with the upgrade memory, you will no longer essentially utilize that heartbeat sensor and only utilize the pedometer. This mod is essentially for those of you who want a more traditional vpet experience, but still utilizing the upgraded mechanics of the Vital Bracelet line. Now, on the original device, which this is actually the Digivice V, but the body and functionality is essentially the same. The heartbeat sensor is found here, and it's a green light, and like I said, it's a very rudimentary heartbeat sensor, so it's not something that I would recommend you use as something to measure your actual heart rate. And it is a 2-button function that is to scroll and to select, as well as a slot for your DIM card, and is also micro USB chargeable. Sadly, these devices are not USB-C chargeable. But the upgrades that I actually have, the mods, the Vital Shell, as well as the Vital Watch, which will be next to be shown in the video, all have been upgraded with USB-C charging, which is actually really nice. Now, the basic functionalities of this, one, you can scroll through the menu, and you have your Digimon's status. This is from your heartbeat. That's your heartbeat. This is your step counter that lets you go back. This is what is known as your vital points. Now, vital points are what you accumulate to keep your Digimon alive. You no longer have to feed or have to clean up poop or anything like that anymore when it comes to the Vital Bracelet line. It's been very much so streamlined and simplified for the sake of utilizing this as a fun little fitness aid, which is what the Vital Bracelet line and series is essentially geared towards. Now, you also can look at the progress and how many days your Digimon has been alive for, as well as their power, HP, and attack power, their battles, their trophies, and trophies are accumulated through meeting certain goals, and those goals can be met through training, and training will allow you to essentially use your pedometer to do certain fun functions such as 20 seconds of punching, 20 seconds of squatting, a 20-second run, things like that. And those will ultimately allow you to gain trophies, which will play into how your Digimon develops and digivolves, along with the vital points that you accumulate. Now, other things that you can do within the menu, obviously you can see the date and that down there is actually due to the upgrade memory, and that is essentially telling you that it has the upgrade memory on there. But you can see the date right there. Scroll through, that was the basic status. This is the status of your Digimon, which you can actually track their Digivolution as well. This is the training, and the training also allows you to get into the adventure function, which the adventure function, it works off of your pedometer and your heartbeat sensor, and essentially is a prolongated walking function that will have random battles occur once you reach the amount of steps necessary to reach the end of that adventure stage. And you can also store Digimon, and this is actually a very important function to have to be able to DNA Digivolve, or aka Jogress your Digimon. This part of the menu is actually one of the more exciting parts of the Vital Bracelet series, which is the functionality that allows you to actually work with an app. Now, one thing to note about the app functionality is that it is essentially based off of near-field communication technology. There's no Bluetooth involved. It is all NFC. So that is one thing to keep in mind when it comes to the Vital Bracelet series. Even with the most current generation of the Vital Bracelet BE, it is still NFC. Now, the app we will talk about now. Now, the app is one of the more important parts of the Vital Bracelet series, as it is one of the integral functionalities of this entire device. Using your NFC connection via this device or your Vital Bracelet device, as well as your phone and the Vital Lab app, which is available, I believe, for Apple and Android OS, allows you to utilize 2 Digimon total to your team to be able to go into the arena and fight people online, or to be able to go into the adventure mode and use essentially the pedometer and time function and go through an adventure with a Digimon. Both of these functions will allow you to use or gain items. And items are important to be able to heal your Digimon if they battle, or if they, as well as to be able to increase their strength and capabilities. Now, within the original Vital Bracelet line, you do not need to utilize different forms of training to be able to increase your Digimon stats and strength. There is just one type of training that essential, or there is just training and battling that will either increase or decrease the strength and capabilities of your Digimon, and ultimately influence their Digivolution, as well as the trophies that you can gain, which do also play into the Digivolution of your Digimon. Now, when it comes to the original Vital Bracelet, the majority of the functionality can be actually accessed without using the app. The only thing that you are missing is essentially items, as well as the ability to control your battles a little bit closer at the very least. But you can also utilize the NFC connection with this and your Digivice, your Vital Bracelet, to be able to enact random battles once they reach the stage of Rookie. I can't do it with this one because this one is still a little baby. But once they reach the stage of Rookie, you can just use any NFC tag or NFC radius to enact a random battle, which is within the Digivolution line of the DIM card that you have uploaded. And that way you can actually accumulate battles, and that is a functionality that is within all generations of the Vital Bracelet series. Now, those are essentially the base functionalities of the Vital Bracelet series, as well as, of course, what is with the Vital Bracelet, which is the first edition or the first generation of this particular series. Now, the second edition of this series is the Digivice V, which was released as the flagship Vital Bracelet for the Digimon Ghost Game series, which is where this particular symbol comes from. Now, Gamamon is the DIM card that was released with the Digivice V. And of course, with the release of a new generation of the Vital Bracelet series, these devices actually came with some quality of life changes. This is the Digivice V. Well, technically this is the Digivice V, but this is my upgraded Digivice V, which is actually in the Vital Wash cell, which comes from Vpet Designs, which is the same creator of this mod. This actually makes it much more convenient and a lot more comfortable in my opinion, and of course upgraded with a USB-C, making the charging that much more efficient. Now, the Digivice V came with a few quality of life changes, such as what is known as sleep mode, allowing you to put your Digimon to sleep so that you don't lose vital points, which is something that is necessary to keep your Digimon alive. And that is one of the things that was essentially a bit annoying with the first generation, is if you didn't keep this on your wrist, or you didn't keep the pedometer and the heartbeat sensor going, vital points would essentially start to tick down because they're being consumed by your Digimon. And you're not essentially always moving around. This includes at night when you're sleeping. So one of the biggest quality of life changes is sleep mode, which stops you losing those vital points when you're sleeping as well, which made this so much more convenient. They also changed the rate at which you gained vital points, as well as some of the conversion for the overall usage of vital points, which made this device that much more convenient. Other changes are the screen was a little bit brighter and the color popped a little bit more, which was actually quite nice. Majority of changes within this device is when it comes to the menu and how this part works. A lot of the changes were, well, aesthetics. Like the storage menu was no longer a light bulb, but actually looked like a storage capsule. And small things here and there, like labeling the system, as well as the app link. And everything else essentially stayed the same. Everything you could do on the Vital Bracelet original, you could do on the Digivice V. But, of course, without the quality of life changes that were found in the Digivice V, the Vital Bracelet was just that much more cumbersome to use, which is why I actually enjoyed this particular upgrade. But overall, when it came down to the functionality of the Digivice V versus the Vital Bracelet, they essentially were the same. The only thing was that this came with an upgraded screen, better battery life, and of course, the sleep mode functionality, which was amazing. Even when it came down to the app functionality, the Digivice V functioned essentially the same as the original Vital Bracelet. So there wasn't much change or conversion there when it came to how that particularly worked. Although there was a big change when we had the Vital Arena come out versus the Vital Lab, which was the original app for these particular devices. Now, the biggest change came with the Vital Bracelet BE. The Vital Bracelet BE, the changes that they made was a much more efficient battery as well as power usage on the board. They removed the off switch, but this still had the sleep function capabilities as well as a lot of the capabilities of the original Vital Bracelet and Digivice V. But there were a lot of changes that came with this particular upgrade, such as the fact that they included a multitude of franchises as well as different functionalities when it came to the training function of this device. Not only did they change the screen contrast to be much crisper as well as the pixel rate, the menu is a little bit different. The status of the Digimon shows you more in-depth stats as well as their data, and gives you a window into what you can gain based off of what type of training you do, which that is a big change, as in the original devices your training was all essentially blanketed into one stat. But these changes will also show you in the menu of the status a window into what the next Digivolution is and what the requirements are to reach that Digivolution. Right. Other changes also do include the different types of training that you can do are static rather than being variable depending on what is available on the device. But these are all static to what is here, and depending on what training you do, different stats will raise. There is also still the adventure mode, and you can also look at your character in a different fashion, as your character and the Digimon that you have uploaded are different, as your character represents you as a person. Other changes also do include the way the memory system works. There is still Jogris and DNA Digivolution, it's just a little bit different, which requires the adventure mode to achieve. And instead of having a power switch, you can just go into the menu to turn the power off and then press the two buttons to turn it back on. And as I said, the much needed additions are the increased amount of power and power efficiency and better screen. Now, one thing to note when it comes to the functionality of the app's functionality essentially stays the same. It's just about the arena and the adventure mode and potentially getting items if you do need them. But if I remember correctly, the Vital Bracelet BE edition does not utilize items. But there are a lot of interesting things that they have added into the Vital Bracelet BE, as well as improvements which are thoroughly enjoyable, although there are more interactive functionalities vpet wise that the Digivice V and the original Vital Bracelet BE seem to offer comparative to the Vital Bracelet BE, which seems to lean more into the fitness aid functionality of its marketing. Now, another thing to note about the different editions or generations of the Vital Bracelet series is that the DIM cards for the original and the Digivice V series come with these neat little cards, and this is what those DIM cards look like. But for the Vital Bracelet BE line, the DIM cards do not come with those little, those neat little cards, and they look pretty much the same. Just trying to get it out of here. They look pretty much the same, but they're a little bit sleeker and in the way that they look, and of course they have that semi-translucent look to them. And the Vital Bracelet BE DIM cards do not work with the previous generation, but the previous generation DIM cards do work with the newer edition Vital Bracelet BEs. Just some of the status functionality is not accessible because the older DIM cards do not have that within the memory capabilities that were in their manufacturing set. So that is something to be noted, though the older DIM cards do still work with the newer and most current edition. Just the newer DIM cards don't work with the older devices. Keep that in mind. Now, I do hope that you enjoyed this somewhat more in-depth, if not chaotic, look at the Vital Bracelet series, and I hope this answered some of your questions and alleviated some confusion, hopefully not created more, when it comes to this particular device. And if you are interested, please do check out this particular video and more videos to come when it comes to Vital Bracelets and vpets. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful day. Well, that's another video down. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really do appreciate y'all. And of course, if anybody does want to continue to support me and help me in making better quality videos, as well as making my dream of becoming a content creator come true, please do check out the links over here that will show you how you can support me. There's Twitch, there's Patreon, there's these other links on my Linktree, and of course, I appreciate every single one of y'all. Alrighty then, have a great one. The love train, and on through. Choo choo. I love every single freaking one of you.